The best game of 2019, I believe that it's this game. With white pieces, this game is playing Alireza Firouzja, with black pieces Murali Karthikeyan, and here, after 21 minutes of thinking, Karthikeyan came up with this brilliant idea. He's going to sacrifice queen for two minor pieces, weak white king and weak white pawns, and yes, he sacrificed queen on c3. You know, I can't believe that such a brilliant move is possible to play. You know, it's a brave, it's a great, it's amazing, it's bad. It's absolutely crazy move, and because of this move, I believe that this game is the game of 2019. Say the best game, the most famous, the most exciting game, and that's the story of this game. So let's start since beginning and let's see this chess beauty. My name is Petr Koutný and I'm going to show you this game. I hope that you are going to enjoy this game. With white pieces, this game is playing Alireza Firouzja, with black pieces Murali Karthikeyan, and h3 is sideline. So if sideline, then sideline, and now queen a5, knight d2, another sideline. Most popular is queen d2 or maybe bishop d3, but okay, what's happened? Knight d2, exchange on d4, and finally we are here. Murali Karthikeyan is going to sacrifice his queen on c3. You know, it's a great idea. And after this, exchange here and exchange on e3. Of course, just to take on e3, it's a absolutely crazy position where black is playing without queen for two minor pieces. But what about white's pawn structure? White's pawn structure is absolutely weak, and that looks good for black. Maybe knight e4, I think is good for black. So for this reason, Firouzja played f3. Knight h5, and because of pawn on h3 and f3, square on g3 is the big weakness, and this pawn maybe it's not a weak pawn because maybe bishop h6 or maybe bishop c3. It's a compensation for black. I believe in black's compensation, and this is exciting position. So what's happened next? Queen in d1 and of course bishop h6. It's a question if this pawn is queen or no, but of course it's not a queen, but it's important pawn. And g4, knight f4. Just to take this pawn here is immediately check, and this queen is hanging. So for this reason, king d1 and knight e6. Maybe knight d3 used to be stronger. It's a nice way to win back the queen. How? So bishop d3, check, and take on c1 with an edge. I believe that here black's got advantage, mainly because of weak white's pawns. But okay, that's another story, because our story follows after knight e6 and king c2. Okay, this is absolutely crazy game. Knight c6 looks normal finally, and now bishop f4. Okay, black is dominating in the center and on dark squares. White's king is shaking, and it's very hard for him to find a permanent shelter. And white's pawns are weak, and what about this pawn? It's weak or it's strong? I believe that it's interesting. So queen d1 and knight e5. Different between black's super strong pieces and white's not playing passive and bad pieces. I believe here it's a different between advantage and disadvantage. So knight c1 and bishop d7. Of course, threat is here bishop a4. So here, even it's a surprise, White's king is under attack. Even White is playing with queen up for two minor pieces. a4 makes sense, and rook c8, bishop h6 and g5, bishop g7, bishop h3 and knight f3. Now black has another pawn and huge compensation for the queen. Even this position is complicated, unclear, messy, but still I believe is exciting and interesting. Queen d3, finally White is going for this pawn, but knight e5 and knight c4. Okay, another pawn fall down, another two pawns falls down, and now queen f2. Maybe queen d3, it's the best White's move here, but it's very hard to say anything wrong against queen f2. Maybe queen a7 here, it's not bad, but bishop c6, rook a8, bishop a4, and I believe that White's position is falling down. No, it's still hard to evaluate everything, it's hard to understand what's going on. And it's great to follow this game. So what's happened? Queen f2 and now rook c5, bishop c6 and now f5. Each of black's pieces is a great, is a strong, and every black piece is a stronger, is a powerful than white's piece. So queen, bishop f6 and now rook f1, bishop c3, and then sounds like game over because Firouzja has had enough and now is going for this move. But that's nearly game over because what do you think about this position? I believe that mainly because of white's pawns, white's weaknesses, and black's super powerful pieces. Even here, black is playing for victory. Of course, white is exchange up, but okay. Another pawn fall down, and here now there are 4 pawns and bishop versus rook. 4 pawns sounds enough. Even Firouzja is fighting, but let's remember this queen sacrifice in the beginning of this game as one of the greatest queen sacrifice of all times. Of course here just not to go to g8 because of checkmate. Oh no, that's a checkmate. So black went to h6 and after a few more moves that's a game over. Too many pawns, too many pass pawns, and white resigned. It was a really interesting game and absolutely the game of the year. What do you think about this game? What do you think about this position, these moves, everything what you saw? I believe that it was good. I believe that it was interesting, nice, exciting, and it was chess, what I love. So, see you tomorrow. Bye bye.